Hi, very good morning to you. It's Jim from Maverickstar Observatory. Wanted to talk about a few things, in particular, the question I asked in yesterday's video. Do you feel gut down that there's something bigger going to happen next? And I'm not surprised by the amount of people that said yes, definitely, they felt the same way. And I think what one of the problems is for people feeling that like that is what is actually going on in the world with regards to the government and their policies, and not just the government in this country, America, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and the rest of Europe, and Russia and China. This is a global problem, and largely it's going unaddressed, and people at the moment, I feel, are accepting of this behaviour, but it's wrong to accept it. And if these things that I'm going to talk about in the next few minutes are not okay with you, then we need to do something about it, don't we? Just like you guys, I woke up this morning and I checked my emails, I checked some of the people I follow on YouTube, and I come across a story on Fox News with regards to a guy who's at the moment in the brig, Lieutenant Colonel Stu Schellers. I think if I've pronounced his surname correctly. His parents were pleading for Americans to get in touch with the congressman to do something about what is going on with regards to their son being put in prison because he spoke out about Afghanistan a few weeks ago and that emergency withdrawal of troops. Stu is a guy who served 17 years in the military forces in America. In the Marine Corps. He's driven up through the ranks. He's an exemplary soldier who has, I believe, done 7 tours for his country. And he spoke out asking for some accountability for the botched job of what happened in Afghanistan with the emergency withdrawal. And he was asking the question, what was it all for? And because he spoke out about this on mainstream media, within 10 hours, I believe, he was arrested and put in the brig. And his parents are pleading with, American people to stand up for, people that come out and, rightfully so, demand some accountability from the people at the top. Lieutenant Colonel Stu Schellers is not the only victim to this whistleblowing. And in my case, it wasn't really whistleblowing. He was just, asking for somebody because he knew what had gone on, as does Americans and other people that, like our forces was in Afghanistan. They want some accountability, for the loss of lives of their brothers that they served by and, lost their lives in Afghanistan and other war theatres. I think it was rightfully so with what really happened in Afghanistan and how it all fell to bits, that there should be some people at the top that accept accountability for the botch job that took place. Right now, I believe there are a lot of Afghanistans that work closely with forces that was in Afghanistan for those 20 years. We know that America lost over 30,000 soldiers in that theatre, and just to pull out and allow what we've seen now on mainstream media and social media, a Taliban force that has been equipped with thousands of Humvees, weapons, even money, and I was shocked that there were so many, probably millions of American dollars that they'd managed to get their hands on when they'd seized the embassy. I think this money was in the embassy and they managed to seize it, as well as aircraft, at the tune probably of the cost of many millions of pounds, if not billions of pounds worth of hardware that was just left behind. And of course, we hear from the Biden administration saying that we had equipped the Afghani army with all the necessary equipment to defend themselves, and they didn't at the end of the day. And I don't believe that there is a lot of truth in that. And I don't believe that if you're going to sacrifice 2 decades and to the Americans a cost of $1 trillion, then you should just walk away from that assets and allow things to go the way they did. I think many people would agree. But when it comes down to a lower ranking officer, Lieutenant Colonel Stu Sellers, saying, come on, this isn't right. People have lost their lives and we've left the situation no better than what we found it. And he's asking for accountability. I think there really needs to be accountability, but it's not just this single case. When we're talking about that gut feeling that something bigger is happening, it is happening on a mega scale. Just the people that come to the light in the media is just the tip of the iceberg. I'm talking about Snowden revealing the information he did with regards to the CIA snooping on the general public. And, when we look at Julian Assange even, revealing, as a reporter should do, what he finds. And because he reported on a few things that was controversial topics to some government officials, that now, these people find themselves in exile. But like I say, this is just the tip of the iceberg. And, there are many, many people that you don't even get to hear about that have been put in situations where they have lost their pensions through talking out about other subjects. And that is where, we arrive at this very moment now. And this is why I'm talking about this, because what we do here at the Observatory is against, really mainstream organisations and media. And that is reveal the truth on certain topics that we cover here at our Observatory, not just the fact that largely the magnetic pole migration goes untalked about. 98%, 99% of the world's population are oblivious to the fact that our Earth is going through such a rare anomaly. The last time it went through a completed reversal was 780,000 years ago. Human beings weren't even on this planet at that point in time, if we're to believe that we've only been here around maximum 45,000 years as Homo sapiens. My point is that this is a topic that should be discussed more in mainstream media. The other thing we do is not just try and reveal the truth to the general public about this rare anomaly, which is currently accelerating at this point in time, has shown that for 5 months in concession that it has increased speed by about 20%, is that we also talk about the truth relating to climate change and how it is more directly related to the magnetic pole reversal, which should be logic as opposed to what is being portrayed. And you've got to realise is that it's becoming very difficult for world leaders to conduct wars in other countries because the political favour is just not there for this. And it will not be even more so after what has just happened in Iraq. You can't justify being in a country for 20 years, spending £1 trillion and have no accountability for the botch job of when you leave it pretty much in the drop of a hat. In anybody's eyes around the world, it has been a waste of time going there in the first place. And those soldiers' lives have been lost in vain. And you put yourself in the parents of these soldiers that have lost their lives, how they must feel witnessing what they saw on the TV only a month ago. So I understand why a lot of people do have that gut feeling that something bigger is coming, because it is coming on a political level as well as a natural level. We are moving towards a point, probably 17 months away, where we are going to see some some significant modifications to our climate, as possibly we get close to that theoretical point, 40 degrees mark. And it should come as no surprise that climate will change dramatically, because we've seen it changing over the last 30 years, where it accelerated from 500 miles in 90 years to, over just the last 30 years, over 1,200 miles. And again, it has accelerated in the last 5 months. And so long as there are small observatories out there monitoring this and relaying it to the public, there is an amount of truth that is going to come out. And of course, you know, we're a drop in the hat really when it comes down to it. We're just a small subscribership. You know, we run a small observatory, and we've even had interference in some of the information that we have subjected to the public. In particular, if you go to the climate change page, facts about climate on the website, we had one of the charts removed with no explanation. It was put back up there, but it was taken down. Somebody come onto my private site and removed it. And that's the powers that they have when they want to keep something quiet. It is, in my view, you know, no longer necessary to earn, you know, for these lobbyists and that and weapon manufacturers to earn money anymore in that field. They just need to shift into, you know, this CO2 arena now, blaming it on mankind, you know, and change, you know, in that fact that it's changed the world in a global effect. When, you know, recently we've stated clearly on this channel that they have admitted now that there is a more frequent occurrence in floods around the world in general. You know, the flooding has increased, and if it was global warming that was causing these floods, you know, we put the question then, what is the actual mechanism that makes it rain so hard so fast? Well, you know, if you do a little bit of research or ask real climate science that are not held, you know, to account for divulging the truth, they will say, well, when these warm, humid, water-bearing clouds move in conjunction with Arctic air, you will get, you know, a downpour of rain. And depending on the length and the size of that Arctic jet stream, when it comes into contact with that humid air, will depend on the amount of water that it drops. You know, for the last 5 years now, we've been looking closely at jet streams at the observatory, and we've noticed that, you know, there has been, for the last 25 years, fragmentation from the north jet stream, or the polar jet stream, which has regularly been intertwining and mixing with the subtropical jet streams both over the northern and southern hemisphere of the Earth. And of course, this is what sets up the event for you know, these massive floods that happen over short periods of time. And the real point is here is that if these floods, as they have now admitted, are occurring more frequently, well, surely it can't be down to global warming. It must be, if we are getting more cold jet streams enter subtropical regions, then it must be because the cold is increasing, not the warm is increasing. So, you know, again, like everything else, they seem to be 180 degrees away from the real truths, and that is what we try and you know, reveal to the general public here at the observatory. And I don't think it's been by any coincidence that the numbers of this channel over the years that we've been going has been kept at, you know, the levels that they are. I think that there has been some interference along the way, and I think it's been proven when we've talked about certain topics that are in the mainstream media, and as a result of that, I mean, I'm talking about the pandemic, we've received a strike, and the strike never goes away. It's sat there permanently now, whereas before, you know, if you kept your mouth shut for a certain amount of time, YouTube would leave you alone, whereas now they keep the strike on you, and the second time you get a strike, you lose the use of your channel for a week, and if you continue to do that, then you lose it permanently. And what this is nothing more than censorship, clearly. If people do not exercise their freedom of speech, and when they do, they get penalised for it, then what does that say about our democracy that we live in and the world that we live in? When you come out and tell the truth and you get penalised for it, what does that say about the world that we all live in today? And how will it ever get better in the future if it's not addressed? What they do is very much double standards. They encourage people, like whistleblowers, if they know that they're part of an organisation that is doing wrong, they encourage people to come out to talk about it. But when it's their neck on the line and these people are talking about their business in a manner that they're not willing to have portrayed out there, that's when the system turns against those people. And that has been the case for Julian Assange. I was watching Russell Brand this morning talking about Julian Assange, that the CIA had considered assassinating him at one point in 2017. That's the levels of which they will go to. And, we have to, ask ourselves the question, are we okay with that? Are we okay with the censorship? Are we okay with the lies? And, at what point are we going to do something about it? Because this is a repeat of history, you know that, don't you? We are seeing the same mentality that was before the Second World War. The burning of books, the burning of literature, the burning of information. And from those famous people back then, they have stated that it starts first of all with the burning of information in the books, and then it is burning of actual people. And if we just go a little bit further to the present day in the future, when they are talking about, murdering Julian Assange because of his release of sensitive information regarding these organisations, then we are already there, aren't we? Where the information clearly is not freely available and is not allowed. But not only that, we also see the second part of that statement, don't we, coming true? That they will kill people as a result of leaking information that is sensitive about their agendas. And what does all this come down to at the end of the day? It's just money, isn't it? So I understand, guys, why you and me feel that there is something much larger to come, because nothing has changed in the last 60 years, 70 years, and we've pretty much learnt nothing. And the examples are before our eyes, and the evidence is there along with it. Nothing has changed, and we are just as barbaric and ruthless as what we was back then. Or not so much us, but the others. Most of us want a peaceful life. We want to get on, and we want to enjoy, a certain level of quality of life. But a lot of us also want to do it knowing the truth. We've got a little bit of a campaign going here at the observatory, and we've been running that now for about 4 days, and there has been some, genuine, remarkable people come forward and pledge a bit of support for us. And if you want to do your little bit, then the link is down there in the description. You've got to hold on more so these days to little observatories like this than you ever had to in the past. This could easily go in the matter of 3 months. And I believe there's been a lot of truth lost as well, if that's the case. I'm hoping that, we all come together. Because if it's not right with you, what you're seeing right now, then you have to ask yourself, what can you do to stop this getting any worse? Guys, enjoy the rest of your day. I'm interested in your comments on some of the things we've talked about in this video, and if you want to help support us, there is a link down there in the description. I really hope that some of you do consider doing that. I know it requires a little bit of an effort, but it's not much. Okay, have an amazing day, take care of your loved ones, and as always, bye for now.